Monday, 5th September 2022, the Nairobi Securities Exchange reacted positively to the Supreme Court ruling upholding your victory by gaining 42 billion on that trading day alone. On that day, as we received trading orders from our local and foreign clients, this reaction by investors was the clearest indication that the market embraced your win and that it has confidence in your stewardship of the Kenya economy generally and the financial markets in particular. Your Excellency, the support you have accorded the industry over the years is unprecedented, unmatched, and appreciated. What many people do not know and what we would like to highlight today is how instrumental you have been in guiding the innovation of the new capital markets products like Ibuka and M-Akiba. As the Kenya Association of Stockbrokers and Investment Banks, we have always been and remain sincerely grateful for your support. As you embark on the task of implementing the government agenda, we confirm that the industry is willing, ready, and eager to offer our support. We seek to hold hands with government and generate capital to complement the government initiatives aimed at raising funds and growing the well-being of Kenyans. On 5th September, when the stock market investors embraced your win, they also embraced your economic agenda and your manifesto, which shall spur economic development. Your Excellency, we are here to play our part in building the Kenya you have so vividly dreamed and have tirelessly spoken of.
I'd like to see more listings. With the money we already have, we are unable to actually deploy it effectively to this market because there are no instruments, there are no listings. I would like to encourage the private sector, the family concerns, the family businesses to come to this market. I mean, I know we are encouraging our government to bring the market, but I want to challenge our brothers and sisters who have invested in the private sector. I see Fimal Shah there and others. Surely, why can't we bring the listing so that we can be able to buy into it? On behalf again of my CBF Financial Services Group, we have a lot of sizable property investment, around 17 billion, and we want to list part of it in this market. And we have actually applied to our regulators, and we are hoping that they will in due course give us the green light to bring the first ever IREIT, income REIT, real estate investment trust from the pension sector coming from LAPTRUST of 7 billion shillings. And I hope we will be able to achieve that in due course.
We need an infrastructure green bond for the city of Nairobi to do our metro, to do great infrastructure projects. Unless we creatively think of ways of financing these projects and Kenyans are willing to put their money in there, Your Excellency, we will not be able to achieve this. So we want to thank you for signaling your support and at the onset of your administration coming to support this securities exchange. We can make it. There are certain indicators that actually determine the place of a global city. And Your Excellency, I want to thank you for the support so far that you've given to Nairobi County for us to position ourselves as that capital. Your Excellency, working closely with partners like the Nairobi Securities Exchange, the Nairobi International Financial Center, Authority, Kenya Invest, amongst others, we can create Africa's leading investment hubs. We also look forward to partnering with the ministry, and I'm glad to see my brother, the incoming Minister for Trade, and investments, trade and industry, so that we can actually creatively think of how to engage our people. Your Excellency, many times you told Kenyans, especially when you went to the North Rift, that while they're dealing with stock theft, others are dealing with stock exchange. Now this is the securities exchange. Karibu sana, and I want to welcome everybody to Nairobi, and just to interest you, to partner with us, to change our thinking. We cannot solve today's problems with the same thinking that created them. Let us innovate. Let us create together, and let's make Nairobi work. Thank you, Excellency, and karibuni sana, Nairobi.
I think the most significant thing is the power of a stock exchange to raise capital. the hustlers from Nyagatogo village had found a way of getting partners who had capital, and they had capitalized their business. Taking it from that day, we didn't, because we had raised capital from one individual as a strategic investor to give us anchor, the 2,000 hustlers found liquidity from the stock exchange. Today, they have sold to 30,000 other investors without Equity ever issuing shares. The amount they have delivered, the 2,000 have become anchor SME investors in this country, in all sectors. So we can see how the market avails liquidity when needed. The hustlers don't need to go, they don't need to negotiate with anybody. The market discovers the price for them. Lastly, is then the ability to transition the entity. Equity today has grown. When we rang the bell, the market cap was 4 billion shillings. The balance sheet was 12 billion shillings. Today, the market cap, Your Excellency, is 175 billion and a balance sheet of 1.4 trillion shillings. That is a very complex organization. But the stock exchange has allowed us to be able to transit and the hustler shareholders to invite sophisticated and complex shareholders. Today, Equity's largest shareholder is the sovereign wealth fund of Norway, Norfund, holding 13% shareholding. And without ever having been sold to the company, they bought from the market. The second largest shareholder is the World Bank Group. Recently concluded a transaction in April this year when they bought the shares of 7% of the shares of Britam. And we can see how Equity then can move from a hustler company to a global company simply because of a stock exchange.
Your Excellency, I can't conclude without thanking you for creating the dedicated Ministry of Cooperatives and SMEs, Your Excellency, and CS Honorable Simon Chirugui. We are all set for the key challenges you have set for us to further deepen this sector, Your Excellency. The SACCOS structure, Your Excellency, meets the requirements of successfully handling the hustler fund in terms of financial access, in terms of traceability, Your Excellency, in terms of inclusivity, in terms of affordability and overall sustainability of the fund. We have very good group lending models within the SACCOS that will be able to take you there for that. And as I conclude, Your Excellency, I'll just say from our journey as CoBank, I overwhelmingly encourage more corporates to list a Nairobi Securities Exchange. Thank you.
We need to solve some of the barriers, or continue to solve some of the barriers to both the listing and the trading, and broaden participation and liquidity. Stocks and exchange are complicated to the ordinary person and to small business owners. We need to raise awareness, we need to drive education, we need to simplify products, we need to improve experience, and also we need to reduce cost of access. There's no better way than digitizing and automating processes and customer journeys. Some of the speakers have already started to speak. And since COVID, we've seen accelerated use of online platforms. Use of mobile handsets as a channel because it's ubiquitous, mobile payments as a way of settling and making experience seamless, and remove time-bound nature to trading would be some of the opportunities. We've partnered with the NSE and the capital markets, with the CDSC to innovate. M-Akiba, buying bonds, the first mobile retail bond. Bonga points for shares from last year. Your Excellency, you may have a lot of Bonga points in your phone. I can tell you how to redeem some of those Bonga points for shares. We can do more together to promote fractional ownership of shares. And we can use digital channels for that, both shares and bonds, to democratize participation. But also on the supply side, we can do more to help MSMEs and SMEs who are, we have about 1 million SMEs on our platform. We can improve education, awareness, and deliver digital journeys, Listing is complicated and daunting, and managing a listed business is no mean task. Reporting, governance, ESG, and so on. As a corporate and as a technology company, we can work with NSE and the CMA to make it easier. Your Excellency, we are ready to work with the NSE and key partners to educate, to innovate, and to digitize and improve convenience, especially for retail investors and medium-sized businesses who want to raise funding. It's about enabling savings, financing, investment, and partnership.
Over the last few years, the NSE has made significant investments aimed at enabling us to offer world-class services through a world-class market infrastructure anchored on a globally recognized investment products and cutting-edge technology. The NSE has been successful in developing a broad range of diverse investment products, enabling issuers to raise capital, investors to build portfolios across a wide range of globally recognized products. Currently, the NSE is the second most diverse in Africa, after South Africa. From a technology point of view, the NSE has adopted best-in-class technology, deploying similar technological capabilities offered by the leading exchanges in the world, such as the London Stock Exchange. Despite investments to enhance market infrastructure, our market has not experienced commensurate, robust growth over the last 10 years. In fact, the last few years have been particularly depressing. The situation has decreased domestic and foreign direct investment in our country that is usually channeled through the capital markets. In our view, Kenya, being one of the most promising frontier economies in the world, may soon not have the public capital markets to match the dynamism if the challenge is not adequately addressed. Your Excellency, capital markets are driven by sentiments, and the positive sentiment of your victory lifted the market, as Mr. Wangunyu said. But I'm certain that today, your presence here and the pronouncement that you will make will lift the market even further and inspire confidence not just by the owners of capital, but by the investing public out there. At the moment, 65% of all the funds trading in our market are foreign funds, and 35% are local funds. But I'm certain that there's a lot that we can do to stimulate the local economy to participate more in retail investing. And you've been very passionate yourself about the public doing more in gaming than they are on the stock market. And we completely ascribe to that school of thought. It is against that background, Your Excellency, that we launched the NSE Market Place, an initiative that seeks to revive market activity and boost growth in our domestic capital market through addressing both the supply and the demand side to accelerate growth. The NSE Marketplace will provide a platform for Kenya to communicate investment opportunities to the world, positioning the country as a hub for trade and investments, enabling Kenya to attract FDI across various leading emerging sectors in Kenya through the NSE.
CMA overhauled regulations on capital raising, what's known as the Draft Public Offers Listing and Disclosures Regulation, and we're now waiting for those regulations to be gazetted. There are 5 key reforms, basically making it easier, lowering the requirements, increasing the scope of companies that can raise capital, allowing the waiving of regulatory costs for deserving firms, and significantly lowering the costs of compliance. The CMA is focused heavily on promoting innovation in this space. You recently pronounced that we need to fully leverage the fintech space to enable small investors to access affordable capital. CMA introduced a regulatory sandbox in 2020, a safe place where businesses can test innovative products, innovative services, and innovative business models in conjunction with CMA to develop the appropriate regulatory guidelines. For example, we have witnessed an influx of interest in blockchain and digital assets-related applications, which have raised the need for the CMA to study the global trends and create our policies within the space. The sandbox has attracted great interest from the youth, from private equity and venture capital players. 12 have come in, 6 have exited, and the most recent one being Possession, a debt crowding platform. We've looked at your Kenya Kwanza manifesto, and we see innovation opportunities in agriculture. We're supporting innovation and implementing structured commodities trading through the warehouse receipt system, and supporting the launch of fully fledged commodities exchanges. Additionally, we continue to push for reforms in the coffee sector, which have dramatically slowed by the recently gazetted regulations by the Ministry of Agriculture. We need the capital markets to continue to oversee the revamped commodities trading environment to provide greater transparency and higher prices. In housing and settlement, we will continue to push real estate investment trusts, real estate development trusts. We saw the listing of Acorn and Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company. And on infrastructure, we'll continue to push county project bonds, and we heard from my good friend, Governor Sakaja, about Nairobi.
We have a plan to transform Kenya. We have the commitment and the political goodwill to do what it takes to actualize it. We have a thriving private sector and a capital market that holds great promise. This moment is pregnant with wonderful possibilities, and we must deliver them together. We stand on the cusp of an opportunity to renew the relationship between Kenyans of all walks of life with the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and to reaffirm the place of the capital markets in igniting and sustaining unprecedented national development and socio-economic transformation. Today, therefore, I'm delighted to ring this bell and to usher in a new era of inclusive transformation possibilities, spanning the public and the private sector, involving all from the bottom up. There is need for both sectors to work together in good faith, develop trust, and make reciprocal contribution to its success. It is my hope and desire that the private sector will reciprocate the government efforts to accelerate privatization and develop our capital markets by offering more privately owned enterprises for listing at the Nairobi Securities Exchange as part of their contribution. And on this note, I want to congratulate Bio for beginning the journey to list in the stock exchange, and also congratulate Credit Bank. I am told that they too, Madam Korir, they too have gotten the necessary approvals to list in the stock exchange. That is a positive signal for all of us, including those of us in the public sector. My administration has set out its commitment to promote the public-private partnership framework as yet another preferred mode of development financing, which we intend to rely on in mobilizing necessary funding for investment in diverse sectors, including roads, housing, water, energy, ICT, and agriculture. This renewed commitment to the growth of capital markets, inbuilt with well-developed modalities that provide clear and effective exit mechanisms for our public-private partnership investors, should serve as the highest assurance from my administration to investors that their investments are safe and that their investment decisions in Kenya are made in a predictable, coherent, and stable environment. I want to persuade you that the growth of the capital market has to be a shared agenda of my government and the private sector. There is need for both sectors to work together in good faith, develop trust, and make reciprocal contribution to its success. It is my hope and desire that the private sector will reciprocate the government efforts to accelerate privatization and develop our capital markets by offering more privately owned enterprises for listing at the Nairobi Securities Exchange as part of their contribution. I want to ask, and I must congratulate our banks. They have stood with us. Whenever we went to the market with our bonds, they have supported us. They've always been there. But I also want to ask that we bring the other Kenyans into that space. We all agree it's a profitable space. It's not always you get interest of 10%, 12% guaranteed by government. You're doing well. I mean, the banks are doing well. Let's be honest. But the small people are not doing well. You know, they are getting 2%, 1% for the money they save in our banks. I think it's only fair that we begin the journey to even our returns. Let us even the returns. Because bottom-up is about not leaving anyone behind. Let's move together. It's the best way to grow the economy. Inequality breeds suspicion. The more we create an unequal society, the dangerous it becomes. We should proactively, deliberately work together towards minimizing and reducing inequalities in our society by making sure that we democratize opportunities for wealth creation. Let me repeat it again. I am saying we must work deliberately to equalize opportunities and democratize opportunities for wealth acquisition by making sure that we democratize opportunities for each and every one of us to get a slice of the cake. We will continue to have this engagement. Nobody has the monopoly of all knowledge, but together we can build a genius economy if we work together. So I am very confident that working together with respect and making sure that we are courteous to one another, we can be able to, and we do not have a choice. Failure, good people, is not an option. This is our country. Collectively, we must work at it and make sure that we all succeed. As my good deputy has said, we are prepared to listen. We want to give way. If we have a good idea and you have a better idea, we will agree to give way our good idea for your better idea, because that's the only way we can take Kenya forward.